Well, greetings, everyone, and thank you for tuning in for another live episode of the Back to the Bible broadcast. Micah Jordan Reese with you, fellas. How you doing tonight?
Great.
Just dandy.
All right. Glad you're doing all right. Hope everybody that's watching is doing okay as well, that you've had a good Lord's Day wherever you are, as we have here. I was really encouraged by the study that we had today. Had a lot of good participation and good questions, good thoughts that were brought out. And if you want to hear about those, then stay tuned through this episode and we'll tell you how you can do that at the end with the other YouTube channel that we have. This is a live religious broadcast that is presented to you by the Church of Christ of Lake County. We assemble every Lord's Day at the Ronan VFW Hall, 10 a.m. for our Bible class, and our worship follows after that. What separates and makes the Church of Christ different from the other churches in town is that you will receive theology without apology if you come and assemble with us. If the Bible teaches it and lays it out in such a fashion that it's supposed to be easily understood, then the last thing you're going to hear from us is ways to make it confusing and more difficult to listen to and difficult to understand. And there are many truths that are found throughout the scriptures that are very easy to understand that people are overcomplicating. For example, the topic of water baptism. Water baptism for the remission of your sins is not a difficult topic, but man, do preachers in this area and throughout the country world make it a difficult topic. So that's what we're saying. That's what we mean when we're saying theology without apology. This is what it says. This is what it says. And we're going to give you the full picture of it to the best of our ability. I mean, for that matter, like marriage, divorce, and remarriage. A lot of preachers in the area are not wanting to touch on that. You got all kinds of people living in adultery. We're willing to talk about it. And we're willing to sit down and study with you, show you what the scriptures say. Now, here's the thing about it is we're not just going to come out flat out, tell you, yeah, here you are, because that's not the best way to do it. All we can do is give you what the scriptures say on the matter, and then you can either receive it, take it, or leave it kind of situation. You're not going to turn it into a thing of, well, that's just you telling me. Like, no, we are studying this. Here are the verses on it. Here you make the conclusion that needs to be met here. And so if that's the kind of church that you want to be a part of and that holds, each other accountable and holding the community accountable to that same standard as we're going to be doing tonight with our episode, then you need to come out and at least visit with us and see what we're about. All right. Brother Brown in the chat says, greetings. I was wondering where he was. You're a little late there, Brother Brown, but I guess that's all right considering we've been missing for quite a while. Yeah, for a few episodes. We'll cut you some slack this time. All right, I want to say welcome to our MCAT viewers, channel 189 out of Missoula, where they re-air this broadcast Saturday nights at 10:30 p.m., I do believe. If you're watching the re-air, we greatly appreciate that, but you can watch us live, Facebook, YouTube. No Rumble tonight because I forgot to do something with our new setup. We'll try to have Rumble back on next week if I can remember. Nobody to shout out. We do have new subscribers, just no one to shout out. So we appreciate those new subscribers. Hopefully they have their notifications on and they are watching tonight. Feel free to engage with us in the chat or when we put up our phone lines.
And we have 626 subscribers, not 500 something.
Yeah, there you go. And as we always start, we want to introduce people to God's simple plan for salvation. And as we said, it is very simple. There's no reason to overcomplicate things. And that is that God requires people to first hear the gospel message, Acts 3:22, Romans 10:17, They need to believe, put their trust in that gospel message. John 8:24, be willing to repent. Luke 13:3, and repentance is not, it's more than just saying sorry.
I'm sorry.
You are asking for forgiveness, but it is the recognition of, okay, I'm living in a way that I'm not supposed to. Therefore, I'm changing my mind and I'm changing the direction that I'm heading, and I'm no longer going to live that way. So it is the idea of turning over a new leaf. When you obey the gospel and you become a Christian, you're supposed to become a new creature. And we hear preachers all the time say, yeah, when you obey the gospel, you just no longer have the desire to do those fleshly things that you wanted to do anymore. Well, all right, if that really is true, then how come we don't see any change with your membership? But that's an episode for another day. Be willing to confess with the mouth that Jesus is the Christ, he is the Son of God, and that he raised from the dead, John 12:42. Be baptized in water for the remission of sins, to have your sins washed away, to be saved, Acts 2, verse 38. And once you then do that, you become a Christian, and you are able to follow through and walk in a Christian life and striving to remain obedient or faithful until death. And that's what God requires. If you are curious and need more information on the topic of water baptism, because most people seem to have a hard time with that topic, we are still offering free of charge to those that are not members of the Church of Christ, baptism unwatered down. If you would like this book, then email us your mailing address, and we have a wonderful member of the church here that is taking that responsibility from me, and they will get that to you promptly as the request.
Micah won't.
Yeah, because I will not. As the requests come in. So just let us know about that. Anything you guys want to add to those opening slides?
No, I concur.
All right. Well, as the theme has
Yes,
been,
man.
okay, as the theme has been, we're going to continue on with 1 John 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. That warning is still relevant to us today. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. False doctrine is not to be tolerated. Here's a list of negative things that will happen if false doctrine is allowed to be promoted. If you allow false teachers to stay in your midst, damnable heresies, that word damnable, that's bad. You don't want that. Even moving to the degree of denying the Lord that bought them, bringing upon themselves swift destruction. We're not wanting to see anybody destroyed. Well, then you need to get rid of that false doctrine. And then many shall, so this isn't going to just stay in one place. Many shall follow their pernicious ways, but by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. This is what we're trying to get people away from by examining things that are going on in our community. And it's not just a matter that we need to be examining it. You need to be examining it as well. And you need to be examining us. Try the spirits. All right. Come visit with us. Spend time with us. Examine what it is that we're teaching. If there's something that we're teaching wrong, let us know. And if it is wrong, then we'll go about and making changes for that. As we mentioned, this is a broadcast that's working on the same kind of platform as the Better Business Bureau. Most people like the Better Business Bureau, or at least they used to, because they actually did something back in the day. But they were holding businesses, or accredited businesses, holding them accountable, and holding against or standing against false advertisement. Well, that's what we're trying to do inside of religion. You have a preacher or a teacher up there promoting something that they really cannot back up, that would be fraudulent. Well, who's going to stand up and say something about it? Most people in town are not. Well, you don't want to be negative, don't want to be too outspoken, yada, yada, so on and so forth. Well, go through our Acts class with us, and you'll study along with us on how first century Christians were really behaving. And so that's why we're taking on the things that we're taking on at this point. We started with episode 151, Life for the Nations investigation, that led us into episode 152, Faith Under Fire, and discussing the Hope Center, the rehabilitation or recovery center that they're wanting to build in association with Life for the Nations. And we made that connection from the standpoint of, here's Life for the Nations promoting that they can heal people. I said heal, not kill. It sounded like kill in my head. Heal, if I can spell it. That they're able to perform the kind of miracles like what were going on in the first century. Yes, sir? Okay, yeah, right. And then after we did that episode 151, they supposedly had a miracle service that following Sunday, and we showed you all of that. The connection was, if that's what Chad and the Life of the Nations Church is able to do, then why do we need this recovery center? Why do we need this Hope Center being built in town? And we showed you all the articles where they're writing about that. Well, now we're going to take you into the public hearing. We're going to take you to the City Hall here in Ronan, where the BBB squares off at the public hearing with Life of the Nations, Ronan City Hall, and Hope Center Ministries trying to come to town. Now, I need to throw this in here just for the sake of protection and say that the views, opinions, and statements expressed during this broadcast are solely those of the host and participants. They do not represent or reflect the official positions, policies, or perspectives of the city of Ronan, Montana, its government, its departments, or its elected or appointed officials. I need to say that because I am now a city councilman here in Ronan. There needs to be some delineation and separation that I'm presenting this information purely from the standpoint as a minister, evangelist for the Church of Christ of Lake County, and so are these fellas as well. So with that out of the way, here's how this is needing to be run and how it's needing to operate. You have Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 16. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren and judge righteously between every man and his brother and the stranger that is with him. This one is certainly important because this shows that even though these people were not proselyted into Israel, they were still inside of the nation and thus held accountable to the same standards and rules that the nation of Israel had. Okay, you're not circumcised. You're not taking on our dietary laws, but you will take on our civil and moral laws. You're going to become one of us. That is how a system is supposed to run. As we're dealing with all these illegal aliens, and even as we're here living within the boundaries of the reservation, where you have one group that thinks that they don't have to follow the laws that are being placed by the county commissioner, City of Ronan, City of Polson, so on and so forth, that doesn't produce peace or unity, but this will. But if you're going to be in a position of judging others, you judge righteously between every man. It doesn't matter who they are. You're supposed to judge righteous judgment. Seems like Jesus said that a little bit later on. I wonder where he got it from. Deuteronomy 16:18, judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgments. So there's no perverting of judgment that's supposed to take place here. You're supposed to hear everybody out. You're not supposed to be doing any favors. You're not supposed to be making any backroom deals. Well, I know who your family is, and I like you, and you've got power and influence, so we're going to float this the way that, that you're wanting it to go. The reason why I wanted to start this way was because before the public hearing even took place, I want you to hear a sermon that Chad Hoffman presented at Life for the Nations and how he went about in preparing his folks from his church to come over to the first public hearing and show their support.
So the Lord has been taking us.
And if somebody in the chat can let us know if the sound is coming through all right, because sometimes it plays in our headphones, but it doesn't go through like it needs to.
Somewhere he's called us to do something. And
well, what happened? Oh, I hit the space. Sorry.
My last thing I want to say about last couple things about the Hope Center. So tomorrow night there's a community hearing. If you lived especially if you live within the city boundaries of Ronan, please be there at 6 p.m. Granny Cranny, right here. I would be delighted. I actually was speaking to Bonnie earlier. I was like, "Oh, is Mom coming today?" Because I need to talk to her. But if you can make it out tomorrow night at 6 p.m., I think Bonnie said she'd even get you a ride there if you need it. But we have our community hearing, and it's just going to be an opportunity for us to speak out, and just to be heard and it's always exciting. And sometimes these things are interesting because, notices go out and usually there's always those people that want to come and complain. There's always those people that want to come and complain. There's always those people that want to come and complain. So, you know what? But my heart and my prayer has been, I've been sensing so much of the presence of the Lord and breakthrough. You know, and it's kind of hard to have some of these meetings. Things get a little taxing on, especially the, that by the time that hearing is, will be in the 40th day of the, you know, this fast that the Lord kind of directed me to take. And, you know, you feel like your energy is really low. I'm like, Lord, why did it get scheduled while I'm still on this? Why not afterward? You know, but I just found His grace and His presence is sufficient. And I just really believe, I've been praying, you know, and hearing from the Lord. I feel like even if there is some negativity and some dissenting voices, I just pray that so much of the presence of the Lord and the heart and the love for our community and the need to see families restored and people lives restored and just recovery and breakthrough and freedom in this area will be so overwhelming to people that they just have nothing left to say. Like this is something that we owe our brothers and sisters, our neighbors. Guys, we don't have to travel very far out here to find either a friend or a.
So we'll stop it there because I think there's something else that's coming that I want to talk about. But it's interesting how that he talks to his group and they're positive and, you know, we need to come and give support to this hope center that we're wanting to have built. But then how does everybody else get painted that's showing up?
Complainers.
They're just complainers. Oh, you're coming in with negativity. You're just a complainer. So that's how you're wanting to go about this from the start. Anybody that comes in opposition to you is just a complainer and not actually a concerned citizen. Like, oh, let's actually hear these people out and see what they have to say. It doesn't sound like Chad's ready to hear from everyone. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it sounds like if we're taking notes from Dr. Nason, some of his sermons, it sounds like he's involved in poisoning the well. Mm-hmm. And the poisoning of the well is where you start tainting a position before you even know or hear what the position is. And that's exactly what he did with his people before the public hearing even took place. So anybody that came up with any concerns, with any negative statements, oh, you're just a complainer, instead of it actually being, well, no, let's actually hear what our neighbors want to say. Let's actually hear some of their concerns and see if we can give some answers to the problems that they might be seeing. But because, of course, Chad's not wanting to see any problems. He just wants to see all the good stuff.
He wants his house built.
Yeah, yeah. He's also getting a house built on this piece of, or next to the property adjacent to it. So anyone coming in is just complainers, not bringing legitimate cause or concern. And you're going to hear more of that from the public hearing as I started asking questions. Like Chad just started flat out saying to me, well, if we're just want to focus on negative stuff, and you'll see what I'm bringing up, it's not just a faction of, well, I just want to be negative. What I'm going to bring up is very serious, very serious and legitimate as a concern, not only just for the community around the Hope Center, but for the city of Ronan and the government itself. So let's see here. Let's wait on that. What you got?
Nothing.
Okay. Let's let him keep going.
Family member or a neighbor or somebody that's been affected by addiction and by just it really is the work of the enemy, because the enemy only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And you find what happens in those patterns. That's what it looks like. It looks like lives and families that have just been stolen from, killed, and destroyed. Right? So yeah, we have an opportunity just to stand up, and it's something that God has called us to as a church family. So especially if you are in the city boundaries of Ronan, please, you can come out tomorrow night at 6 p.m. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm just expecting the presence of the Lord to be there in our city office. You know, we're expecting that. And if you're not within the city boundaries, please just pray with us. that the grace of God, you know, and I actually believe if anyone's come there just to complain, I believe that by the end of the evening that somehow their heart will be softened. And if not open to the gospel, at least just softened for love and compassion and care for their neighbors and their friends and those who are hurting in our community.
Now, I know that there are people out there that just want to be difficult and they just want to complain. I mean, I've been a preacher for a good while now, and I understand there are some people that are just like that. But you cannot go into a situation and just categorizing, painting with such a broad brush that anybody that comes in with anything negative to say is just a complainer. Now, his idea to it was, well, hopefully, you know, the gospel can, I don't know how that even fits in, that the gospel will be shared and that their hearts can be softened and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you really want to soften hearts, then you need to be able to give good answers to the questions that are being raised and not just slight offhanded responses to kind of misdirect and lead people away from what, what you're wanting to be presented. Now, the next clip that I have here is starting into the frame of questions that I have, or that I had. But how did I talk to you? And I didn't write things down necessarily as to how I wanted to go. How did I mention to you guys what I was wanting to go to next? Was it yours? Or were we going to dive into?
Well, I know we were talking about how fast they cut everyone off, but I don't know if that was what I can't remember at this point. There's been so many conversations about this.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just go into the questions that we start presenting, the questions we start asking.
I did want to say something.
Okay, go.
You know, there's a couple times that we've listened in the past episodes where he's talking about, oh, I just feel like this wall of Holy Spirit's going to hit the valley. And then he said, I just feel this breakthrough of God and the presence of the Lord is going to be there. And he's asking his congregants to come support. And there was maybe 2, I think, that first night. And I know there's people from the Hope Center.
Aside from the Hope Center, yeah.
Aside from the Hope Center, I know there was a posse there. But aside from that, I think there was only 1 or 2 ladies, and then her mom, the lady that stood up, and they both talked. But so maybe 3. But like to have like your whole congregation, you know, if you all have the Holy Spirit and this didn't, you know, this wall didn't move you to come, and you're wanting to say, well, no, you're going to see us shake up the world. And they couldn't even come to this thing to combat the negative people and bring through that softening of hearts. That just kind of shows how weak the congregants and what they think. Oh yeah, this is just going to go through. I don't really care.
Yeah.
So anyways, just a little point.
Let's clip that. What you got, Reese?
Nothing. I agree.
All right. So that's how all of this started before the public hearing even took place. Painting everybody as being just negative and complainers. Well, now let's see how it actually went on inside.
Piggyback off of Lynn's question here and to one of the answers that was given. Tiffany? Yeah. So how many volunteers are you expecting to have on site every day?
So we have mentorship, and it's typically the residents will be coming to the church for a lot of the Bible studies and the mentorship. So a lot of it is the traffic is the vans, and we partner right with the church. So the church actually raised some money for this, and a lot of the programming and whatnot will be through the church. So it's not we're having 40 volunteers coming out. Typically we meet them where they're at, and we would be transporting them to the church. The services and the Bible studies and whatnot would be towards the church.
Okay, but I'm still curious.
All right. Now there's a contradiction, or there's a possible contradiction in that statement. Now, you notice she didn't even answer the question I asked.
Yeah.
How many staff members are you going to have on site? And then she starts talking about cars coming in and out. Now, I know why she did that, because the person before me was asking about traffic. They are I'm very concerned about that alley that they're going to potentially be using to transport these vans in and out. That's a huge issue and a huge problem. If they're not using the alley, then they're going to be using 6th Street and they're going to be using 5th Street to get to where they're going back here. So there's going to be an influx of traffic. Now, you notice she says, yeah, there's going to be volunteer services that are taking place, but the majority of those are going to be taking place at the church. Well, this is an article that was written in 2023 dealing with the unregulated world of Montana sober living homes. And this was shared. So it was first done by the Montana Free Press, but it was shared by the Daily Interlake, which is a local paper here. Yep. It was shared by the Helena paper. I'm pretty sure it was also shared Butte, Bozeman. Pretty much all the major newspapers carried it. So in this article, you have a woman under the pseudonym of Caitlin, age 32. She applied for a spot at Hope Center Ministries near the end of 2021 because it seemed like her best option at the time. She had pleaded guilty in February to 1 count of criminal endangerment related to reckless driving, and after being released, violated her probation by reportedly failing to show up for check-ins and possessing drug paraphernalia. Court records say she had told her probation officer she'd been using methamphetamine, even as she denied having a problem with drugs or alcohol. Sounds like you got a problem. But anyways, the Women's Sober Living Home in Clancy, that's outside of Helena, the group that's wanting to bring this Hope Center here to Ronan, her attorney advised would help her get out of jail and give her a structured environment to recover from substance use. Now, I just want to add in at this point that with the recovery group that I have been working with the past 2 years, I have heard many of them say that they were happy that they went to jail because that gave them, that was pretty much cold turkey type situation. Them going to jail is what started the process for them then to be able to get into recovery. Because if they had just gone from using into recovery, probably wouldn't have made it, because you're going to have the heavy temptation to relapse. So I just want to throw that into the mix for like our city councilman and the planning board and different people that are just looking at, and Chad and his group, they're looking at it as, well, this is a better option than jail. Again, being involved with recovery people, I've heard them say jail was not too bad for them. Like, yeah, it's difficult, but as far as getting clean, they look at jail as, okay, yeah, it was a necessary part of it. Quote, I didn't really know a lot about it. The Hope Center, Caitlin said in a December interview, he just told me that it was a treatment center and that I could benefit from it. You notice that miscommunication, and that they kept trying to throw that on us in the public hearing, but we never called it a treatment center. So they're trying to play these gotcha games of, well, it's not a treatment center, it's recovery. I never said it was a treatment center. I've been calling it recovery this whole entire time.
But yet they call it a treatment
center.
Yeah,
exactly. Montana Free Press agreed to refer to Caitlin by a pseudonym to protect her privacy. Later on in the article, the residence in Clancy is one of 2 Hope Center Ministry locations in Montana, including a men's program in Butte and 36 nationwide. Though it's described as a drug addiction treatment center on its Facebook page, which we were told at the second public hearing, it is not a treatment center. Though they're labeling themselves on Facebook. They could have fixed it by now, but back in 2023, they're calling themselves a treatment center. So
except
no, don't you do it. The National Admissions Coordinator who testified at Caitlin's November 2021 hearing in Boulder described it as a long-term faith-based drug and alcohol recovery program. On its national website, Hope Center Ministry says its purpose is to lead addicts and their families to become fully devoted followers of Christ. The prosecutor of Caitlin's case, Jefferson County Attorney Andrew Paul, argued for a different route, telling the judge he thought Caitlin needed clinical addiction treatment. He asked Hope Center's then admissions coordinator, Ashley Drake, what kind of doctors the organization had on staff at the house where Caitlin would be going. None, Drake replied. So you are taking people that have a chemical addiction and that are needing, like, they're not just needing recovery. A lot of these people are needing treatment. And you're taking them into a place that has no doctors on site. None. And you're hoping to do something with these people? But she said the program would transport residents off-site for necessary mental health care needs, medication, or diagnosis. Quote, but you would agree with me that medical staff would be appropriate for somebody who is chemically addicted to substances, wouldn't you? Paul asked. Well, quote, that would really depend upon which recovery approach that you choose, Drake answered. It seems like to me, if you are dealing with people that are dealing with chemical substances, that are damaging their brains and neurological systems, you would want to have medical staff
Yeah.
that's able to handle chemically addicted or addicting substances. And that was the same question I asked Chad at the end of the public hearing when he actually came up and talked to me. He's being kind of distant now. Not gonna understand why. And it's just, I asked him, I said, what are you expecting to do with volunteers that have a Bible with these people? And so that goes back to our first episode. He didn't want to say it there, but what are you going to do with these people that are dealing with chemical problems in their brain and you have nobody certified to actually deal with that? Well, it's kind of like the whole joke about praying the gay away. Oh, we're just going to pray for them and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm all for prayer, but that's not going to happen. You are not going to help these people this way. So you're still going to end up taking them somewhere where they're going to get the medical need that they are supposed to be getting. So all you are is a middleman at this stage. Yeah, we'll have you stay here, and then we'll have to transport you to where you're actually needing to be. So then Paul, the county attorney, disagreed with the defense attorney's assessment of sending Caitlin to this place. Paul, the prosecutor, says, quote, "Judge, to call this treatment is quite a stretch since they don't have any sort of medical personnel that are available to assist somebody with their chemical addictions. It's basically a kumbaya, we'll take care of you for money, and that's all it is," Paul said. "It is simply a place where Hope Ministries is making money." And I wish I had it ready, but when one of you guys are talking, I'll go and try to find it where all their revenue is. Hope Center Ministries is making bank. They are making money hand over fist. They have more money than Quaker has oats. It is astounding the kind of revenue they are bringing in. So this guy, this attorney, Paul, he hit it right. He hit the nail right on the head. And we're going to read some reviews here in a moment that some people have put online of their stay with Hope Center. And they end up saying the same thing. It's a Ponzi scheme. It is just a money-making scheme. And if they can find some little thing to get upset with you about and kick you out, they will. And then you're just, kind of on your own again. So anything you guys want to add there before we move any further?
No.
Nope, not yet. Okay. All right. Let's keep going then. All right. So here was one. Actually, I don't even think that this got brought up in the public hearing, but it did get brought up in another way, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. So here's another allegation from the article: work without pay. When she showed up on the program's doorstep, Caitlin told MTFP she thought the home was beautiful with scenic views of the surrounding mountains. Soon she was following the same strict rules and routines as other residents, doing house chores, studying the Bible, and completing related homework assignments. One activity required residents to apply scripture to their life experience and write a prayer. Caitlin said that early morning practice was her favorite activity. Quote, "It helped me every day," Caitlin said in the December interview. "It built my character and gave me more confidence than I ever had before." All right, so there's some positivity coming out before we get to this heavy negative. Throughout her time at Hope Center Ministry, she said she never worked with a licensed provider on an addiction recovery treatment plan. While the program let residents schedule counseling, and notice this, sessions with volunteers who visited the house. You remember what Tiffany said?
It wouldn't be.
It would not be at the Hope Center. The counseling,
Most
the Bible.
of them.
Yeah, the majority.
Yeah.
Well, what's the majority?
Yeah.
The majority is going to be at the church building. But
Which
that
means you're driving back and forth.
exactly. You're still driving back and forth.
Mhm.
But even from this article, from somebody that's inside, she is saying, no, they came to the house. So that's your normal practice.
Mhm.
So all we have going on here is a bait and switch with, oh, here we are. We hear your complaints about traffic. So what we'll tell you is, yeah, it'll be at the church. The majority will be at the church. Okay, but you're still going to be letting people, it's still going to take place at the house too, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's the part she left out.
Mhm.
She didn't mention the both. No, it's going to be a both. It's going to be at the church building and it's going to be at the Hope Center. Conveniently left that out, but this article tells it. Caitlin said the people facilitating those sessions weren't licensed professionals. So there again, it's a bunch of volunteers, people that have zero training as to what to do with this chemical stuff. So then, somebody might throw that back on me. And it's like, well, Micah, what do you know about drug recovery? I don't know anything about drug recovery. I'm not going in there to help them with drug recovery. I'm going in there to teach them the Bible. That's the difference. The drug recovery stuff I'm leaving to those experts, and they are certified to. Now they are not able to do treatment either. But as far as the type of training that they have gone through to help these people that are on drugs and alcohol and so on and so forth, they have been through the training. As far as these jokers and these volunteers, we have no idea who they are. And that goes back to the unregulated nature of this faith-based center. Caitlin goes on to say, I don't know how they're open if they don't have any licensed people. She said they were just people who had read the Bible. Caitlin said, and then they want to tote and talk about their success rate. I am seriously questioning the validity of the numbers that you're throwing out there as to, oh yeah, we see a 80% success rate. But yet there's one in Tennessee that says that they only see a 45% success rate. Like that's coming from the Hope Center, not from anybody else. It's coming from the Hope Center. Oh, we see about a 45% success rate.
Wow.
Crazy stuff. You're not going to get it with this. So then the director of Hope Center Ministries, Clancy Home, Carolyn Belling, declined MTFP's request for an interview about the program and did not respond to any emailed list of questions about the experiences shared by Caitlin and other residents. Multiple calls and emails to the national organization were not returned. That doesn't sound good either.
No.
You're wanting to come into an area and people have questions and you're not going to return phone calls or emails about this stuff specifically. So then here's where the work issue comes in. After about 6 weeks at the home, Caitlin began working roughly 40 hours a week at one of Hope Center Ministries' contracted vocational training job sites, a burrito restaurant on the Carroll College campus in Helena. Almost said Helena. Operated by Sodexo, a national food service company. Sodexo did not respond to MTFP's questions about its work agreement with the ministries. Sounds pretty shady.
Yep.
Why are you wanting to dodge questions if you're not doing anything wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin and two other former residents who worked at different Helena businesses told MTFP they did not receive paychecks from their job placements and weren't scheduled to receive payment until the last 8 weeks of the program. A phase Drake had testified during which residents learn financial responsibility and companies can actually add them on as employees. Now, wait a minute. They're working at this place. So this is a year-long program. 6 weeks in, you go out here in this vocational training. The last 8 weeks, if the employer wants to, he can then add you on as an employee. I didn't do the math on it. If somebody in the chat or you guys want to do the math, but that's a certain number of weeks where you are working at a place not as an employee. So is there no W-2? Is there no Social Security? Is there no income tax? What's going on here if they're not actually an employee during those weeks?
8 weeks is 2 months. So
is that it?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So 2 months out of the year and then the 6 weeks at the first. So
Yeah.
almost 2 months. So
that,
so 8.
So that leaves 8 months.
8 months that you are working for free.
For free, not being taxed or paying your dues like everybody else does. That is not good. Not good at all. And so they can come back and say, well, yeah, but we worked this agreement out with the business. I don't care. That doesn't sound like something that you can actually be legally working out. So this is a lower down in the article. Nationwide, hundreds of drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs require, clip that, residents to work without pay, either for the program itself or at contracted businesses, according to a 2020 investigation by the news outlet Reveal. At some high-profile sober living residences in other states, residents receive free clinical treatment, housing, and food, but not monetary wages for their labor. Critics say that business model is ethically fraught for people with substance use disorders and a potential violation of the federal Fair Labor Standards Act. Quote, the long and short is there's no exception in the Fair Labor Standards Act that would cover this circumstance, said D. Michael Hancock, counsel at the National Cohen Milston Law Firm and former assistant administrator for the U.S. Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division. Quote, if somebody works at Taco Bell, they're entitled to be paid for their labor, period. I'm unaware of any Taco Bell exemption from the Fair Labor Standards Act. Folks, you need to, and with all of the fraud that's just being exposed in Minneapolis with the Leering centers and the fraud that's being exposed down in Texas, and they're just now going into California, no telling what they're going to uncover there. You have all of this fraud going on, and now you're wanting to bring this into our area as though there's nothing wrong with this.
And we can't ask questions
And
without being negative.
exactly. We can't ask questions without being labeled as being a complainer and just wanting to focus on the negative. This is extortion of these people. Oh, well, they don't really have any other options, so let's just bring them in here and let's make them slaves.
Child labor laws
is ultimately it. And, they don't have the kind of resources to reach out for help in this situation. They are not really in a position where they trust the police all that much. So what are they, what are you going to do? Well, you just go along with it. And I mean, they're coming from a background that doesn't know any better in the first place. So it's not until you get out or you're actually deep in it and you start realizing it's like, hey, I ought to be getting paid for what I'm doing here.
all this sounds like jail. This whole thing sounds like
You might as well go to jail.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
this whole thing sounds like a better, cleaner look of jail, because you're working for free. You get your 3 square meals, and then people come and visit you at your dorm,
Yeah.
and then they leave you, and
Yeah.
you can't get out. Supposedly, you're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to go anywhere.
Hotel California.
Yeah, you're stuck at this place for how long did we say?
It's a year.
Year.
Yeah, a year. It's like,
Unless they kick you out.
yeah. Why not just jail? Yeah.
Let's flip that. That's good.
Jamie said it's like holes.
That's summer camp
Yeah.
where they send all the bad kids.
Yeah.
All right. So then Hancock goes on and says, Hancock is among the attorneys litigating a series of cases against the Salvation Army on behalf of former residents of the organization's adult rehabilitation program, claiming the charity failed to treat residents as employees, but required them to labor without sufficient pay. So that goes to your jail point. A similar lawsuit certified as a class action this year is proceeding against the Texas-based Synacor Foundation for allegedly pocketing millions of dollars in wages earned by residents of its drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs. In addition to conflicting with federal law, Hancock said the work without pay model takes advantage of people with few other options, many of whom lack stable housing and an income to afford sustained treatment. So yeah, they have found a corner in the market where we can get not just cheap labor, free labor for at least 8 months? At least 8 months, then we'll start throwing something their way. Folks, that's not good. Not good at all. Now, the argument I'm sure the other side will make is, well, they just don't know how to handle this kind of stuff, so we're doing it for them. That's not what you're supposed to be doing with this program. And that's why I like the program that I'm with better than this program, because it puts the responsibility on them. You have to go get a job. We'll help you with the paperwork. Like, there are people there to hold your hand to make sure that you're doing things legally, but the responsibility and the weight is on them. That, okay, you got to get a job. That is one of the requirements. If you don't have a job, you don't go through the program with them. You have to get a job. You have to file your paperwork. You have to get insurance. You have to pay your taxes. But yet here's Hope Center, and they found a pretty decent loophole into the whole tax payment situation.
Yeah. And why do they get the money? Why doesn't it go, okay, we're going to hold on to this so that you don't go spend it on drugs,
right?
But we're going to put it in this account for you,
right?
And then you get it when you graduate,
right?
Or whatever,
yeah.
Something like that. Why do you get? And then, like you're saying, there's this is the reason why, because of the salary that they're making. That they're making this tons and tons and tons of money.
Yeah, the revenue that
Revenue.
the revenue that Hope Center as a whole is bringing in per it was either 2023 or 2024 for that year, their gross revenue was $21 million for that year. And that was a huge jump from the previous years of their filing where it was maybe around 10, 13 that they were bringing in.
That you can see.
Yeah, that you know about. So, yeah, just as the attorney said, it is a money making scheme. All right. So we wanted to go through that to show that contradiction from Tiffany's statement that first night. Let's go back here and see what else she has to say.
It says to
Because I'm still asking about the staff.
how many volunteers are going to be on site to watch over 34?
The staff watches over the residents, not the volunteers. They're just there
So-
to mentor. They do Bible studies. They do step studies. Typically, most of that would happen here at the church.
Okay, so who are the staff?
So the recovery pastor, the director, and the admissions coordinator, and then there's always a staff that lives on site, which is typically an intern. So that would be 4.
So 4 staff members to try to watch over 34.
100%.
Yes.
It's a model that works over and over. It's proven.
Yeah, we've done it for, it's a
And
15-year.
Try to watch over 34.
Okay. So everybody take note of that. 4 people to try to watch over 34 people that are dealing with drugs. That's
with no doctors.
Yeah, with no doctors. Those are the kind of odds, those are the kind of numbers I do not want to stand against in having to try to control and maintain and keep peace.
Jordan, you got an orphanage at your house. How hard is it to watch your 4 children all at once?
Oh no, just 4 kids. Yep, and a wife.
Yeah, on your own. It gets crazy. Now, so I make that point. You're expecting 4 people to watch over 34 people that are dealing with chemical substances, and listen to Chad's response.
100%.
Yes.
It's a model that works over and over. It's proven.
Yeah, we've done it for,
Model that works over and over. It's proven.
yeah, we've done it for.
It's a model that works over and over. It's proven. Well, friends, just a quick search. Now, I'm talking about this was just within a few minutes after we found out about Hope Center wanting to come to our area. I started digging into different articles that are out there about Hope Center Ministries. This is from Jackson County, West Virginia. Update. Company responds to overdose death at Jackson County Rehab Facility. Hope Center Ministries has released a statement regarding after 2 people overdosed at a Jackson County facility last week, one of whom was pronounced dead at a hospital.
Must have been 36 people.
Yeah.
then.
And only 2 people watching. Yeah, Chad, this is a system that works over and over. It's been proven. Explain this one for me, buddy. The company tells WOWK 13 News 2 residents of the facility, 2 what?
Read it
News?
again.
2 residents of the facility, 2 people were found unresponsive at their. That's
Okay,
weird.
The company tells them that news. Oh, yeah, news. Okay, so the company tells the news,
Yeah.
2 residents of the facility, 2 people were found unresponsive at their facility in West Virginia.
Still not computing, but anyways, they found 2 people and they were showing the visible signs of an overdose. Officials say the facility immediately began life-saving measures until medics arrived on scene. Both individuals were then taken to Jackson. Yes.
Because there were no medics.
Yeah, there were no medics on.
Boom. Flip that. Okay. So yeah, if there had been
Wow.
medical staff
Mm.
on hand, maybe that one wouldn't have died. Good catch. Nice job.
You're welcome.
So both individuals were then taken to Jackson General Hospital, where one was later pronounced dead. The other individual was treated, released, and taken into police custody. So he didn't even go back to the rehabilitation center. He went to jail.
Okay.
The company's full
No
statement.
grace for you.
Yeah, the company's full statement is below. Quote, Hope Center Ministries is committed to providing a safe and secure environment for the men and women enrolled in our 12-month faith-based recovery program. On May 24, 2023, 2 residents were found unresponsive, showing visible signs of overdose. The life-saving measures were immediately administered, including naloxone, commonly known as Narcan. Reese knows about that. A life-saving medication that can reverse an overdose from opioids. So it must not have been opioids. Emergency services, fent maybe. Emergency services were immediately contacted and arrived on scene with approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so that goes to a point that is going to be brought up later. Notice they're 10, 15 minutes away from wherever the the hospital is. So emergency responders continued life-saving measures and transported both residents to Jackson General Hospital. One resident was later pronounced deceased and the other was released and placed into police custody. Hope Center has cooperated with law enforcement in their investigation. Our thoughts and prayers, are with the family during this difficult time. Hope Center Ministries exists to lead addicts and their families to become fully devoted followers of Christ, end quote. So a man's death at Sandyville Rehab Clinic was confirmed to be an overdose. Jackson County, West Virginia Sheriff Ross Mellinger told 13 News. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office said Monday the death happened last week, and authorities then searched Hope Center Ministries in Sandyville. So according to the Sheriff's Office, the facility is known to be a drug rehabilitation center. The JCSO said on their Facebook page the facility appeared last year under a cloak of non-transparency to the community. A lot of that going on.
Yeah.
The one up here in Clancy does not want to answer calls or emails about allegations of fraud. This group doesn't have transparency, and then they actually have one person die from an overdose. Yeah, this is a system that's proven to work over and over again, as long as you don't go digging into the other facilities
Right.
to see what's going on.
You negative Nancy.
Yeah. And like I said, this was within 5 minutes of the next day. I found this stuff. None of this is adding up to be a good mixture for our town. So anything else you guys want to add on that point of the article and what she said there?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good. You guys already did good with the article and catching things I didn't even take note of. All right. So let's keep going here.
And you want to know what kind of crime happens at these centers? I mean, there's 51 centers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if Tiffany would like to address some of the lawsuits there.
Okay.
At these centers, I mean, there's 51 centers, you know what I mean?
So he brings up, you want to address the crime that are at these centers. And obviously he hasn't done the research to know what's out there. You got an overdose at one, and I'm fixing to bring up another point.
Yeah, well, if Tiffany would like to address some of the lawsuits that are out there, specifically with the Helena Hope Center group, there was a lawsuit that was filed against Hope Center Ministries by an individual identified as Jane Doe, June 5th, 2024. The case number on that is 6:2024CV00036. So there are some lawsuits out there. The case is categorized under personal injury. That goes along with that. There's also legal proceedings, including multiple motions, requests to appear anonymously. There's news and investigative reports from 2025 that indicate Hope Center Ministries faced allegations, including possible child sexual abuse, financial mismanagement, fraud, and weak internal controls. Would you like to address those reports?
I have never heard anything about child sexual anything for Hope Center Ministries, and I'm not really sure what cases you're talking about. We went through getting approved by NAR, so when we went through the legislation for that, and that was about 2 years ago. I'm not really sure what case you're talking about.
And Micah, if you're concerned, I can set you up with our regional director, and she can address it. There's a lot of hearsay out there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that just people say all kinds of things. So, I appreciate the concern.
Well, there is at least one case number that I cited. So it's not just hearsay, that is a documented case.
Yeah.
So again, right away is immediate downplay. Oh, there's a lot of hearsay, blah, blah, blah. Look, hearsay does not end up in federal case. If the defense attorney did not actually think that they had a case, they wouldn't be going to trial. And this case is still open, awaiting trial. Now, it's also alarming that Tiffany did not know. Supposedly,
Yeah.
I haven't heard. That doesn't mean she doesn't know, but I haven't heard of such a case. Wait a minute. You're the overseeing pastor of this group, and you do not know about this lawsuit against your center that you're working at?
That's been open for almost a year or over a year.
Yeah, over a year.
Almost 2, I meant.
Yeah. What's going on? Like, what's going on with that? But again, just the immediate downplay. Well, there's always hearsay, blah, blah, blah. And even in this situation, I understand that everyone's innocent until proven guilty. But you, as a group that is supposed to be out there promoting that, oh, we care about these people and we want to try to help, and then you're just ready to throw them under the bus at this juncture when you supposedly don't even know what's going on. Oh, I've not heard of this, but hey, I'm going to tell you that what they're saying isn't right. Okay. Doesn't sound like you're really going up to bat for them. Sounds like you're just in a position to try to make defense for yourself.
But here's the thing. We're making a defense for you, Chad, because you're getting in bed with this Hope Center Ministries.
Absolutely.
You should be listening, seeing all this stuff and seeing that, no, this is not foolproof. It is not proven over and over. And you should be like, you know what? I don't even want to be in with this, and then give the land over. I don't know, how that is involved with Chad, with whatever their Life for the Nations. I know Life for the Nations bought the land and they're allowing Hope Center Ministries to build on their land. But you guys should be listening to us and go, whoa, maybe I don't even want to, get to bed or
cahoots or in league
or get a contract going with these people, or it's too late and you've done. I don't know. This goes back to the allegedly, that it just seems that Chad is a good in the moment, just spins and just goes with it, with his words. So I don't know. Yeah, you should be thinking about it from our perspective. We're trying to keep you protected as well. So anyways.
And this case is not the only one. There was another one in Tennessee that was also filed, but I believe this case ended up being dismissed. And there's a smidgen of others that are also filed in lower courts than this one that's right here in Montana. So now this is the same group in Helena that's wanting to bring the Hope Center here. Now, as Jordan said, with the whole lawsuit situation, that sounds like a very, I'm not a businessman by any means.
I'm not a businessman.
But if I was to try and go into business with somebody and then they ended up just, flippantly saying, yeah, we can do this. And, I'll throw in this much and you throw in this much and we'll be partners. And, I got this lawsuit that's going on. It's like, whoa, pump the brakes, my friend. What are you talking about? A lawsuit? Oh, no, it's nothing. Blah, blah. It's like, no, you don't know that. It very well could be something. We probably ought not to move through this deal until you get that lawsuit settled out, because you're making these promises about finances you're going to throw in. But if you lose this case, your finances are going to be going somewhere else and not actually going towards what we're supposed to be doing here. So again, these are not just points of being overly critical or overly judgmental. This is very serious stuff that people need to be taken into consideration, that, all right, we may not want to move forward with this, making a lot of promises that you're not going to be able to, really keep. So there's this one in Tennessee, as I said, was dropped, and the rest that I've got is in newspaper articles, but we'll keep going with the clip here. I'm trying to see what else is in here. Okay, so let's go a little bit further.
Okay, if you'd like to address, like I said, anybody here who has questions about that, we can set you up with a regional director. We can take time to go through those. If you want to, we can always, with anything, you can always bring up negative.
Well, that's a pretty big negative. Lawsuit is a negative.
Yeah. It would.
You see, like Jordan said, the spin.
Yeah.
Just the paint. Oh, let's not be negative. We got to be realistic here. And, get your head out of the clouds and stop thinking about your house that's getting built, and really pay attention to who these people are. And not only who these people really are, but then what you're going to be presenting to your neighbors, what you're going to be putting your neighbors up to. You're not thinking about them either throughout this situation. Anything on that? I think you guys already kind of dealt.
Nope.
Okay, Reese, good?
No.
With any group, you'll find that, because there's always going to be people who are going to sue over whatever. You know, but we could spend a lot more time.
But you don't know that's what it is, so you're in fact assuming
So-
something that's not even there.
Like, so with our graduates, we have the highest success rate. So with our graduates, we're going through after 5 years, we have a 72 to 75% success rate for women that are still in recovery, full-time employed, and have their children back. So going through in 5.5 years, we've had 360 residents come through. Not all of them have so much completed, but we're giving.
Now, you notice she didn't give any numbers, specific numbers of who hasn't completed. Is that number bigger than the ones that have completed? And is that the
Yeah.
reason why you're leaving it out? Again, let's slow down here, people. Let's ask some questions.
Opportunity to be able to restore to a community with a job. We have an amazing success rate. And so Hope Center is the fastest growing nonprofit ministry in the United States. We are actually in like Belize, we are in the United Kingdom. And so typically through, 52 to 56, there is something that's going to come up, but I would love to give you some information, Carolyn's information, and we can walk through your concerns. I personally don't know. I'm not trying to brush them off. I don't know the cases that you're talking about, but Carolyn, the regional director, was unable to be here, so I could get you their information and we can walk through your concerns. Okay.
And specifically the impact on our community. Because there's something that you're feeling is a specific impact here, we will address that.
Well, if somebody else wants to go, I'll circle back.
So Chad closes it with, but we need to focus on specific concerns that we have here. Not what's going over there in Clancy, but you're bringing the Clancy people here. So what they're doing there, they're going to try to do here. And if they're not doing it well over there, why would we expect them to do it well over here? What you got now, Reese?
I'm just thinking about how the leadership that Chad's trying to say, trying to have this leadership that he is this pastor here, but he's not listening to the community. It's always up to him to decide and his little group, but then he always pushes the blame. If there's something wrong with it, he's always pushing the blame somewhere else. And, oh, well, you can go speak to this other person because I don't know. And the other lady's saying, well, you can go speak to this other person because I don't know. It's like, so why? I'm just trying to get it in my brain on why are you thinking this is a good idea to bring this here when all of this is laid out that you've not gone and looked at the negative at all. And that's where as you were saying this morning, I just need a bunch of yes men. That's all this is I just need a bunch of yes men. Go to ChatGPT and ask if this is a good idea. It'll give you all the yes you want. So this mindset that you have of, well, I don't look into the negative or anything that's negative about that because I'm not a negative person. That's, as Mike said, that's not realistic. That is not a realistic thing to go to. I'm going to start a business and you don't look to see if there's a demand for your business in this area, you're going to fail. And there's definitely a demand here for drugs in this specific area.
Amen.
There's definitely going to be people trying to get in there with the drugs. And if you're already seeing 2 overdoses, 1 death over somewhere else, and then you're just trying to comfort us by saying, oh, that's not going to happen here, while the proof is over there that you're using the same system as these guys, it is not going to work. There's too many drugs here. There's too many dispensaries. There's too many alcohol bars here. And you think that you're going to get this to work, but it's not, because the numbers say it's not. The proof says that it's not. So yeah, just send them to jail. Just send them to jail. They'll do better off there. Go visit them in their cells. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Jordan.
No, I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's move forward into night 1. So everything's able to come back around.
Sort of run back to the safety question of the facility and to Chad's point about local impact. I understand that you're saying with the people that are inside, they're going to be watched and regulated, so on and so forth. But if you travel over to Pablo, and I'm involved with that recovery group over there in Pablo, and they have a recovery village, there's all kinds of problems centered around the Pablo village.
Was it a smoke detector? Or is it something else?
What'd you say?
Did you hear a beep?
No, I said I wired that place.
Oh, okay.
Things go
Sorry.
on inside of the village, and you just look at the people that are on the
So
outside of it. Because drug dealers are predators. They know that people are there in recovery and that they're going to have the possibility of relapse. So they don't have to go out and search for their market. They know where their market is. And this side of town is already prone to crime. So my wife and I've lived there for just 4 years, and it's regularly mentioned on Mission Valley Awareness about things that are going on that side of town. So with this coming in, it is going to draw predators. What are your plans to see that that doesn't happen and people that do come in are dealt with? Because as I already mentioned, our police force is already strapped.
It's not.
So listen to my question. My question is not about inside of the Hope Center. I realize that the Hope Center, quote unquote, is supposed to be secure, even though we just read about West Virginia where 2 people got drugs. I get that. My question is, what are you then going to do to make sure that everybody else around the Hope Center, where we do not have fences around our houses, are going to be kept safe? Because, as I mentioned, the group in Pablo, they have a village where they are inside of a fenced living facility. But if you see the people living around that facility outside of the fence where the normal people live, there are drug dealers all around. My question is, how are you going to keep this south side of Ronan from turning into that? Listen to the response.
An open facility where people can just come and go. It is a residential recovery home. It's like somebody walking into your residence. It's not an.
I have people walking through my yard regularly.
And there's
No, listen to what I just said. I have people walking through my yard regularly. So what you just laid out there does not fit.
I have never had anybody walk through the Hope Center yard in Clancy.
This isn't Clancy. This is Ronan.
So she's trying to answer the question and she is not answering my question. The people can't come and go, blah, blah, blah. I'm not asking about the people in the facility. I'm asking about the people on the outside of your fence where I'm going to be unprotected that are now going to start moving in because they know people are coming in and out and they're going to be looking to use. She's not even paying attention to the question that's being asked.
Or she is.
Yeah, or if she is, she's just completely dodging it.
Because she's saying, no, I've never had anybody on their property cross into their properties. And you keep saying, my yard, not your facility, my yard, around us. Well, I don't know. It's never happened in our facility. Not your facility.
Okay, well, since she brought up, well, it's, I've never had anybody walk through the center at Clancy. I went ahead and did some digging as to where the center in Clancy is actually located. This is 62 Park Drive in Clancy, where the Hope Center is located. I need to change this from, well, no, we can keep that. So while we're saying, quote unquote, that it is in Clancy, it's actually 14 minutes away from Clancy. So they're outside of the city limits of Clancy. They are also outside of the city limits of Helena. This is Helena. Notice in contrast where 62 Park Drive is to Helena. You've got to go all the way around here to get into Helena. The Clancy Center is way back here off the main highway. Here's the highway. You take a service road and then you go way back here in the hills. Then you get here to 62 Park Drive, Clancy, Montana. Is it any surprise she has not had anybody walk through her yard in Clancy? Now, I'm getting agitated with this because this is a purely misrepresentation. It's apples and oranges as to what we're talking about. So we're doing this broadcast in my house right now, 2 blocks behind me. is where they're wanting to build this Hope Center. This is not the same as to what we're talking about. Where Clancy is, where the one in Clancy is to where they're wanting to put this one in Ronan, not even close. And for her to have the audacity to say to me with my concern of, I don't want strangers hanging around in my neighborhood, that I already have strangers hanging around in my neighborhood. Your facility is going to bring more strangers, and your response is, well, I've never had that happen in my area. Woman, you need to get a handle of yourself. To try to compare these two is, I mean, it's not even funny. It's just obscene that you would try to play that kind of game with people at this public hearing. And then in the second public hearing, we actually had the head lady there, the one that refused to answer emails and phone calls from the press, the Free Press article. She came to the second public hearing, and we won't have time to play it tonight, but I'll probably go ahead and upload it just for the sake of having the clip up there. No, okay, so we might run a little long, but we'll go to this section of the second night where Jordan, our Jordan here on the broadcast, actually got up at the public hearing and said something.
Actually,
yeah. Okay, so we have one here. We have one clip from Jordan's presentation, and the reason why we have it here is for the sake of showing even some bias from the public hearing board,
which is not the first time.
which is not the first time it's happened. So Jordan gets up and he starts talking, and he's talking for 24 seconds. And Dan Miller, the city planner, he's not even on the public hearing board, so I don't know why he's speaking up in the first place. But Dan Miller speaks up and interrupts Jordan 24 seconds into what he has to say. And the only reason why it was 24 seconds is because Jordan had to go back and tell his address. He forgot to tell his address when he first got up. So he had to circle back, tell his address, then started asking his first rhetorical question, and Mr. Miller started wanting to interrupt. He's technically not supposed to do that at a public hearing with public comment. And certainly he's not supposed to be chiming in, jumping in, trying to rein people in with their questions when he did that to nobody else. On the first night of this public hearing, Tom McDonald, who lives back here and he's with the tribal council, on the first night, on the first public hearing, Tom McDonald talked for 12 minutes straight without interruption. And then Jordan gets up for 24 seconds saying what he wants to say, and Dan starts jumping in. And then you brought up the first night with Rachel.
Yeah.
What was that time?
20 seconds.
Okay.
19, 20 seconds.
So 19 or 20 seconds into Rachel's talking, Dan Miller interjects and interrupts again.
Yep.
Now, again, this is all people that's with us and the Church of Christ that are in opposition to what's going on here. And you're interrupting us, but you're not interrupting anybody else. I don't like that. Now, to this, Clancy point here, that gets brought up in the second night where Jordan is still standing up and talking. And notice what's said here.
And
Why
the
does it have to
city,
be right here in town?
the city doesn't decide where these things are.
Where would you have it?
Not in town where my kids are.
But
Well, those people are here anyway. How's it gonna make more people here if we have a recovery center? They will be learning how to be a better citizen.
Which question?
My question is, we already have those people here. If you don't have a recovery center, where are they gonna, they're still gonna be here. If you have a recovery center, they have someplace to go, to learn, to rehab.
To become good citizens.
Just the lack of reasoning from the public hearing board is astounding. Well, they're already here. What are we supposed to do with them? Ship them out.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep them here. The whole idea, well, they're here, so let's build a facility here. No. And that goes back to this Clancy point. The Clancy group is 20 minutes away from Helena, way back here in the woods. They're 14 minutes away from Clancy, way back here in the woods. Why couldn't we do something like that? We very easily could. There's plenty of real estate off around Butte, and especially even off a back road for that matter. Stick them out there somewhere. Don't put them in the middle of town where your law-abiding citizens live, where we're just trying to live in peace, not having to constantly look around and see, well, who's wandering around out here now?
Mm-hmm.
They're not even thinking about that. And part of it is because I'm not sure with the public hearing board, but I know with the city council, they don't live on this side of town. So what does it matter to them? What's the big deal? And that's the issue. Well, it's not affecting me, so let's go for it. Go
What's
ahead.
funny is Chris, I forget his name, up there at New
Cornell.
Life.
Oh.
New Life.
Stopke.
Chris.
Hoffman. No, New Life?
Yeah, Sopke.
Sopke, yeah.
Yeah, not Chad. Chris. He came up and he said, "Yeah, I live, I won't say for his sake,
Won't
but
dox it.
yeah, he told me where he lived, and he said, "No, I know what you guys are saying because they're building a transitional place for the tribe
Yeah,
up there." And he's
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what you guys are talking about because he sees those people over by him now." And so,
And he was kind of gritting his teeth while I was saying it, like,
yeah,
they're
I
here.
know, I get it, and it's just okay, everybody knows, but then they want to act dumb, Here they want to act, and that is what Rachel originally said, was what you just said, is why are they putting it in the middle of town? And then they try to say, well, it's not in the middle of town. It's like you had to annex them into town. Yeah, so it's all this politics stuff that I've never heard. No, it's not on my property. I wasn't talking about your property. I'm talking about my property. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of this. And then, well, it's not in town. It's right on the outskirts of town. You still had to annex them in. It's dishonest. Will you answer this question? Not going to answer your email. None of this looks good. It's all weird. No, we just shouldn't be negative about it. Negativity is bad. It's like, no, answer these questions. They're real questions. They're real concerns. We don't have enough police here, but you want to bring more druggies here. They're here anyways. Let's get them out. Let's bring more cops here. Why isn't the city making a plan to bring more cops here before we're bringing in more druggies or volunteers or blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is. What do you want us to do? I want you to make it safer for us, not them. Back to you, Micah.
Okay. Well, the question was asked by the planning board, where are they supposed to go? I kind of let Jordan dangle there for a little bit in that situation until I could finally raise my hand and give a response, which was actually a question to the head
To answer
honcho.
Julie's question about where would they go, I would ask Carolyn, where is the Clancy Center located?
Are you looking for an address? I'm sorry. Is that what the question is?
He wants to know where the Clancy Center is.
The address of the center?
Well, not only the address, but can you describe the physical location of where the Women's Center is in Clancy?
It is on 13 acres, about 10 minutes from Helena. So we usually look for somewhere with good access to the community. Our residents will be working.
So her time is off. It's actually about 19 to 20 minutes away from Helena, and it's 14 minutes away from Clancy.
And very connected with the community. And then somewhere that allows for a little bit of space, like this property. This is really ideal because it's close enough for access, especially with winter roads and how driving conditions can be, but still not right in the middle of town. It's really for the.
So there it is again. I didn't even notice it listening to it. Again, is that misnomer. Well, it's not in the middle of town. Folks, again, it's right. It's going to be right back over here. If I wanted to pick up a rock and throw it at it, I would hit it. It is not that far. I mean, hey, I'd give me a couple tries, but it'll get there.
But from here, we can see the store, Harvest Foods.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in town.
Residents here will get outside and have some serenity and some space. So in Clancy, it's set up similar.
Okay, so
In Clancy, it's similar. Man, I didn't listen to this as closely as I should have, which I'm glad that I didn't, because you're getting true reactions out of me right now. Does,
Hey guys.
does this? I'll ask Jordan Reese. Does this look similar to Ronan,
No,
where the Clancy Center
not
is?
right. We're not here.
No, it
No.
looks like the way that my parents used to go to school and back. It's 15 miles uphill both ways and up in the woods
No,
to where never to be seen.
yeah, where our parents lived in Polson looks like that.
All right, let's just have some fun here. I'm just gonna pull up Ronan, Montana. I was about to put my address in there, but no, don't need to do that.
You might have said it on when you went up there.
No, I edited it out,
Okay.
and I took Jordan's out too.
Nice.
Like you said, we're not gonna dox people. We're not liberals.
There it is.
All right, yeah. So here we are.
Very quick.
Here's my house.
Yeah, let's fix this really quick. We need terrain. No, what do we need? Satellite. Yeah, it was there. So here's Ronan. There, here. Okay, here's the city of Ronan. This is 7th Avenue. This is where Chris Hoffman's wanting to put his house.
Chad.
What'd I say? Chris Hoffman? Sorry. Chad Hoffman's wanting to put his house here. Over here is where the Hope Center's wanting to be. Does this, let's put our marker back. Does this look anything like this?
No.
Now you see, nobody has a map inside of that public hearing to be able to look at and be able to say, hey, something's not adding up here. These guys, these guys are way back in the woods, up in the hills. Here we are in the city of Ronan, and they're wanting to build it right there. Oh, yeah, they're similar. I don't know what your definition of similar is, but it's very different from how my definition works.
No, you'd have to keep going back that way.
Yeah, you would have to, like, what, go back over
Oh, yeah.
in here somewhere
Yeah.
before you could start saying that it's similar? Which, by the way, where is it? Kicking Horse is the facility back over here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably where that Charcusta.
Oh
News
yeah, the
is. Yep.
Charcusta News. So here's a facility that used to be. Didn't that used to be at one time like a
Rehab.
get out of jail?
Yeah,
then
Job Corps.
Yeah, okay, Job Corps. What happened to that, fellas?
Burnt down, I think.
It burnt down, shut down,
Yeah, shut
whatever.
down, yep.
So we already had one of those here, and it failed.
Yeah.
And now we're thinking, oh, but no, Chad's going to be in charge of this one. This one's actually going to work. Yeah, the guy that
the houses.
the guy that says he thinks that people can be raised from the dead today. We are trusting him with these chemically imbalanced people. Again, folks, look at how close this is to town. While our city officials are saying, oh, no, it's not in town. Well, yes, it is. You annexed it in by your own definition. It is in town, people.
That is 10 minutes away from, or 20 minutes away from Polson.
Right.
Yeah. That's the, if you zoom out and then you can show where Polson's at, that's 20 minutes away from
Ronan.
from town. So that's where it should be, is a distance away from town if we're going to be the same as Clancy.
That's good.
Yeah, here's Ronan. Polson's here. That's
Yep.
20 minutes.
Yep.
So if we're going to do this similar to Clancy, then 20 minutes somewhere out here around Butte, 20 minutes somewhere back over here in the hills is where there need to be. Or, man, I would say put them closer to Missoula and let them be Missoula's problem, not ours. All of this is just, so even in the presentation that's going on with the public hearing, even that is fraudulent. Right. And how this is being shown. And that's, well, no, this is good because of access and winter roads and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. They're not going to be driving. So why does that matter? Clip that. So again, all of this is just, they keep building up points that are non-essential to the actual conversation. What you got, Reese?
They were saying that they want more infrastructure for it to have taxes, and so that we can have more money in the Ronan.
Mm-hmm.
But where can you even, where is it even going to be built bigger, badder out there? There's going to be the Hope Center, and then what else is supposed to be out there? Really nothing. And as far as that goes, it's pretty much a tax-free situation because it's a ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, What are you even talking about? That's not even honest. What was that?
Out before you exited out of
Mhm.
this. So on my night, they wanted to act dumb. Like what other facilities? Which then you were talking about Cedar Creek
Right.
last time.
Which is in here somewhere.
Yeah, it's on Main Street.
Here.
Yeah. Okay. So there's Cedar Creek, which I didn't know about. I wish I would have known it at the time because everybody in there's like, what? We don't even what? Where is this place? And they were wanting me to be specific. And so, but then the first night when Rachel got up and said, "Why are you bringing this into town?" And then Dan Miller's quick 20 seconds to say, "Oh no, you're thinking about the other one. So which
That's
is it,
over
Dan
here."
Miller?" Yeah, and that's what I wanted you to show. So right there at the end of 6th, yep, that's it. It's built. It's right there right now. That field is now a huge facility.
Infrastructure.
Yes, huge facility. And Dan, by his own definition, told Rachel, "Oh no, you're thinking about the other one." But then on my night, it was which one? So that's the games that we're dealing with. But now my point is that you've bookended us in
Mhm.
with in the middle, the bars and the
Dispensaries.
yeah, dispensaries.
Jinx.
I was trying to think of what the drug is actually called. CBD. CBD.
Zebos.
Yeah.
Speed Bros.
So that was my whole point, and that's another thing that if you were being honest, you would actually go, "Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying with, your kids being in this town, city, and you're worried about this one going here and this one here. I see what you're saying, and in being honest and going with me, but they're not honest. They were all acting dumb. They were wanting to play that game. Oh, it's not a treatment center. It's a recovery center or whatever the game that they were playing was, which we already showed that it's by their own definition on their Facebook, it is a treatment center. At least in 2021, it was called that. 23. Whatever. So this is the kind of stuff you get to deal with when you stand up for God.
And
It's dishonesty.
And sometimes standing up for God's teachings means that you have to stand up against your own government.
Right.
Your own local government and the unwise and the foolish decisions that they're wanting to make. And for what? For this, like, I don't know which one of you said it, for the sake of a few bucks from water. Well, they're gonna have to hook up water and pay, and that's money that we wouldn't be getting if they didn't build it. And it's just like, and it's like Jordan said, well, how long are you actually expecting to get that? Because all they have to do is put the land into either Hope Center Ministries, which is a nonprofit, or the church buy the land and move it into some kind of ministry work, and poof, all of that's gone.
Reset it.
Okay. And
I mean, to trust and stuff like
right.
that.
Yeah. So it's just, and I am a preacher, so I know how that kind of stuff works.
Oh yeah.
And then,
because he doesn't dive in.
right. And then it's just like, okay, then that revenue's gone. And what do we have? Well, they'll be here working. Yeah. They'll be working 8 months for free. They won't be paying taxes on their,
Master's got me working.
they won't, on their wages, because they won't be making any wages. Again, it'll be going directly to Hope Center Ministries. And that's a nonprofit that doesn't pay taxes.
But they ended up kicking Caitlin out.
Yep.
So that's I don't know if we're doing another episode or what, but they ended up kicking her out early, and then like, oh, here's a soup kitchen. See ya, bye. And she ended up living in a car and getting back on drugs. And so that's what happens. Like, oh, you worked for us. Bye.
And then you started realizing what we're doing is not all that ethical. And
Right.
then we're going to, instead of actually doing the right thing and changing, well, you're just a complainer. You're just negative. We're not going to deal with you. So you're not actually going about this with the right motivation.
Yeah, and then if that's the case that she's going out and going back into drugs, how often do you keep up with these people after they leave the facility and hey, how you doing and all that stuff? Or is it
They
just
dropped her off.
yeah, or is it just 1 year, you're done, get out of here? Again, that's the same as jail. They're not going to look back at you and go, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" Except there's medical staff in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Medical
there is,
staff
yeah.
And your cold turkey.
Yep.
Guaranteed. Guarantee it.
And I believe that was a question that your mom is, that one question she keeps harping on is
Matthew 5:3.
yeah, who's coming in here? The whole premise is, oh no, local people get priority. But I found some reviews here. Let's see. Yeah, this is
2-star.
This is the one. This is from the website greatnonprofits.org. And folks are leaving reviews. This guy, Mike7549, back in 2024, me and my wife were told by James Rummage that if we came from Florida to Oklahoma. So are we going to be seeing some Florida people up here when we're being told, oh no, this is going to service, local people first. They get priority. Well, then what's all this stuff about?
We're going to see some people from Minnesota, but not actually from Minnesota.
Some of them Somalis.
Yeah.
Now,
I am the governor.
so he says, me and my wife were told by James Rummage that if we came from Florida to Oklahoma, that me and my wife would be able to see each other and talk to each other all the time. I was in Ada and she was at Purcell. Pretty sure that's not how it's pronounced. But anyways, we got there. When we got there, we couldn't talk for 30 days. And then it was only 3 times a week. We came there to save our marriage and find Jesus. While at Purcell, my wife got hurt, any ATC and couldn't work anymore. And Monica Henry, who was the director, had my wife lie to the doctors and insurance saying she got hurt at the house pulling a lawnmower string when the mower had a key start. She was later dismissed because of this, and we had to leave. When I was at Ada House, I did $25,000 worth of contracting work, including making our garage into a living room, a floor for Monica Henry at the Purcell house, working at a local church as a favor, and a 40 by 24 deck at our house without any compensation. They said it was God's work. This while having a 45-hour-a-week job that we didn't get any money for 9 months. So there's a bigger window than what we were actually coming up with, which means that we paid for our own program. Having 30 guys working for the house, I and my wife's house never went on any outings, and when we did, they only gave the house $1,100 for the whole house to go, which means lousy outings. And 4 times a year, they had mandatory Hope Center outings that the house didn't have to pay for. We were told we would have so much fun that we wouldn't even know we were in treatment. And me and my wife only got to see each other 2 to 3 times a month. They also get food stamps for the clients, which amounts to $292 per person. Then the directors dole the cards out so we can go shopping for food. They steal our money and stock their own houses with steaks and real meat while we eat ramen and tacos almost every day. Now, some might look at this and say, well, that's just one person. Well, there's another one over here. There's another one over here. There's another one down here. We've been reading from the Montana Free Press, and they have at least 3 other people that they reference alongside of Caitlin. And let's see, there's another one here. They make you get a job, take all their money for 10 months. They hide behind Christ. They are under investigation. They take your food stamps and spend them on everybody, but do they really almost some kind of cult, but the truth will hopefully come out and heads will roll. So, and I don't know where this guy is from. This is not Helena. So we're getting multiple reports from different people involved in different organizations. Like Chad said, they're in over 50 states, or they're in the 50 states.
Proven.
Yeah, this is a proven system that works over and over again. Now, could it be that these are just
complainers?
Yeah, complainers or people that are obstinate. It could be, but the fact that their complaints are so similar, they're all complaining about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much smoke for there not to be fire. There is, in fact, something to this. And then this guy says this place needs to be investigated by the IRS. That will probably never happen because they don't look into church stuff. But then here's another problem in Cheatham County. That's in Tennessee. Government inspection of Hope Center Ministries facility in Chapmansboro reveals issues. Cheatham County to file suit for zoning violations. Oh yeah, this just keeps getting better and better. This sounds like a great group to work with. The Hope Center Ministries facility on Spring Creek Road has not been a welcome addition. Let's see, where is it actually at? As previously reported, the property, which contains a single-family house and barn, is zoned agricultural, but is allegedly being operated in a manner inconsistent with its zoning. Cheatham County Building and Codes Director Franklin Wilkinson had stated that the current zoning only allows for 8 residents and 3 staff members to live on the property. But at one inspection of the property in August, Wilkinson found roughly 26 residents present. Oh yeah, this is a really upstanding group. Then you drop down here a little bit further. The Tennessee State Fire Marshal's Office is committed to protection of Tennessee and their property. We recently inspected the Hope Center after receiving a complaint and found several deficiencies. Hold on. Going forward, our team will continue to work with the Hope Center to address the correction of the identified deficiencies to help ensure they are providing a secure facility that meets all state guidelines. Well, what did they find here? Where'd it go? I know it said it.
What?
Man alive. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. According to the SFMO report, the location was cited for not having windows constructed to code in all bedrooms, not having necessary square footage per person in all of the bedrooms. The SMFO has given HCM until Friday, November 1st to make the required changes. And it seems like there was something else in here that the fire department found, but I can't find it. But yeah, you dig a little bit deeper, and there's other Hope Center ministries throughout the country that have had lawsuits filed against them for similar things. One facility in Florida, I believe, was actually had complaints online because the building had mold inside of it, and people
That's
were
serious.
and people were getting sick. Kids were getting sick. And it's just like, well, okay, what's being done about that? We don't know. It's not regulated. Go ahead with your story there, Reese.
I was just thinking, first of all these 1-star reviews. I've been to many motels and hotels, and I at least look for a 3. Anyways,
Rachel don't.
yeah, the people that are helping are volunteers.
Yeah.
They're not getting paid.
Well, no, there's a difference between the staff
Okay.
and the volunteers.
Okay.
I suppose the staff would be paid, but I don't know.
I'm just thinking that just means you get 4 extra people that are free labor, and it's all going back to the ministry.
Well, as we did see with the Indeed listing for the Hope Center here in Ronan, there is no information about pay.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
who is to say
Who's to say?
as to whether you're going to get paid or not? I mean, the people inside, the workers are not getting paid. So why would you as staff expect to be paid in this situation? Let me see here. We looked at those reviews. We looked at the park comparison to Ronan.
I think if you showed me this much information and I was about to go buy a car and you showed me this much negative information, I think I would go, wait a second, pump the brakes.
But I really want that red car.
Yeah, I have to have that red car. Just get rid of my truck, get rid of my other car. Let's get the red shiny car.
It'd be creating a lot of problems.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I had any more that I saw from the public hearing. Was there anything in y'all's notes that you
I
just
think I said it.
that you just really wanted to hit?
No, not. I think, yeah, pretty much I said everything that the Spirit led me to say, laid upon my heart.
Okay. Want to go to chat and then closing thoughts?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go in here to the chat. Sorry for neglecting you guys, but as you can tell, we had a lot of information we needed to get through. Not saying that you are not adding to the discussion, but it's just we have this in our brains and we needed to get it out for the folks here in our local area, because I've been telling people about this episode and how that they need to be watching and share it with others. So let's see here. We have Jeff Brown. Brother Travis Thomas show runs late sometimes. So that's why he was late. Nick Shipman in the chat. It's been a while for him. That's a cuss word?
Yeah, you said damnable heresy.
Oh. Oh man.
But then read the next one.
I took a break from discussing with the Orthodox only to be immediately greeted with
Clip that.
Oh, sorry to offend your sensitive ears there, Nick Shipman. Let's see, but they can do that too. So at some point in the discussion, he gives a shocked emoji. We got some commentary about the sound being good with the clips. Nick Shipman, again, this place sounds like bad news all around. Well, as Jordan said, as we keep digging into it and we keep finding stuff, yeah, it gets worse as you go. Quote, that's just people saying stuff to, that's Chad Hoffman, to my bringing out the allegations of the lawsuit. Okay, well, apparently people said so much stuff that it went to court and has a court case. Yeah, that really, man, that just, that I want to say that it amazed me, but in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't. Just because, like I said, I've been at this for so long and I've dealt with so many people that is, that is just, you want to say it's hard to believe that people would do certain things that they would do or say certain things that they would say, but then at the end of the day, it's just, no, that's pretty much par for the course. So yeah, to come back around and that's just people talking. Look, if this was just neighborhood gossip, it wouldn't make it into court. So again, there's got to be something. All righty, Nick, again, I think if people are dying, that's probably a reason to be serious about it. Oh no, that's not that big of a deal. It was only 2. Talk to us when we get to 4. Quote, we have to bring the facility here first before we can look at whether it's problematic. Oh man, that sounds like something else. What is it?
Flycus.
No, kind of, but it feels like it's something government related.
Yeah.
Oh, who said it? Somebody said it.
I don't know.
It was back with one of the big bills during Biden's administration, I think, and nobody was reading it. And somebody came out and said, well, we have to pass it to find out what's in it.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of thinking.
Yep.
Now, people in our community look at that and say, that's stupid.
Yep.
What are you talking about? You need to read this thing, investigate, and find out what's in it before you sign it and we pass this into law. But no, your idea is, well, let's bring it in and then see what happens.
Is that meme the little kid? You like surprises?
And then that's also a good thought too with this other one that they're building on the north side of town.
Yep.
Let's find out what happens with them first.
Yeah.
Before we bring in this next one. Let's just slow down our bringing in of recovery centers.
But it's not a treatment center.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just, if that one ends up working and actually does some good,
right,
then we won't need this other one. But no, nobody's thinking about that. Just got to get it in. Brother Brown, no doubt they're getting something out of it as well. That's how politics works. Yeah, there's some potential there. Cops can be just as bad, sadly. Yeah, some of them. There are some. There's always a rotten apple in every group. This is Clint Little. Are you guys dealing with demons? I meant politicians. Yeah, we are. Then unfortunately, I am one now. Quote, your Hope Center.
Devil.
I think you mean our Hope Center laughs in communism. Nancy. Oh, so Nancy Pelosi. Was it Nancy Pelosi?
I thought so.
Okay. All right. Yeah, then that would make sense. All righty. Man, I wish we would have read some of those in real time. Those would have been good. I apologize. I repent. I repent sincerely. All right. Closing thoughts, fellas.
I really have none.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
What you said earlier was really good. And I go ahead, Reese. I'll circle back on something.
No. Go ahead. Listen.
Okay.
I want to listen.
All right. So I want to circle back to Jordan's earlier point about this actually being a help for Chad also. Yeah. So number one, Chad, you should have done this homework and dug into this group and not just, well, let me hear what Hope Center has to say. Let me listen to them. Let me go out here and find out what other people are saying and not just simply swipe it off as, well, they're just being negative. They're just being complainers because I want this to happen. If we are going to make righteous judgment and not judge according to appearance, and that's all Hope Center is doing, is trying to give you a good appearance. It's kind of like what Jordan Peterson talks about in relationships and dating, and how things are when the guy and the girl first start going out and the guy wants to talk about all of his good things. Like, oh, I like to do this, and oh yeah, I like to go and hike and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And in the dating situation, they never stop to ask them, well, what are your bad qualities? What are your bad traits? You usually don't find those out until you're too far committed. And then it's just like, well, I can't, I put in all this time. I can't get out now.
Right.
That's almost a similar situation here that's going on with the Hope Center. It's, well, no, I just want to hear all your good stuff. And, you know, that bad stuff, that's not really bad stuff. We'll deal with that later. It's like, no. This is some really bad stuff. And you actually get into a deeper relationship. You actually get married to each other. The marriage isn't going to fix those problems. It's only going to magnify the problems. Those problems become your problems. And that's what Chad's fixing to walk into. Chad is fixing to walk into a system that is not working all that well. And he's going to be the one left holding the bag. You won't be able to point the finger at anybody else. You won't be able to point the finger at Tiffany or at, what's her name? Anyways, head lady there in Clancy, Helena. You won't be able to, you know, refer back to them. You are going to be the guy. And I don't think you're that guy, pal.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
I really don't think that you are. Just from the interactions that we've had with you at the public hearing, the interactions that we had with you out on the street, listening to your sermons, and then also communicating with other people in the neighborhood that have been dealing with you since all this Hope Center stuff has started going on, you're not building yourself a good reputation, at least on this side of town. So in listening to this, again, it's not just for the sake, we're not doing this just for the sake of, well, we're going to tear into you and point out all these flaws. This is an opportunity for you to realize this really is a mess and that you need to reconsider. This is your Ananias and Sapphira moment to get out while you can. Otherwise, if you keep going with this, it's going to be too late. So that was a good point, and just wanted to add on to that. All right. So is that it?
Jamie Albert texted and said Nancy Pelosi with Obamacare.
Okay. All right. So Nick Shipman was correct.
Correct.
Smart guy, that Nick Shipman.
You want to pull up the Bible real quick?
Oh, yes.
I guess.
Man.
You didn't
The
give
political
me, you didn't even-
program now.
You didn't even give me my last thought.
No, you said I could have it.
No, I said go ahead. I want to hear you, and then I was going to come back.
You
No,
didn't.
you gave the talking
Yeah.
stick.
No. Luke 14 verse 28.
Say please, sir.
Nope, not gonna happen. Okay, please.
Sir.
Sir.
What is it?
It's ma'am. 14. Sorry, 28.
It's ma'am.
Well, this is what was coming to my mind. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest happily after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, and that behold, it began to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. So this is talking about becoming a Christian and counting the cost and whatnot. But this still fits into this application is he's not counting the cost for this. You're hoping to build, and as the Nancy Pelosi thing is, you're going to have to get in and see. It's like, no, you got to count the cost. You got to, unfortunately, look at the bad things that are involved and the negative things. Even when it comes to becoming a Christian, is you got to count that cost, whether or not you are going to make it, or else people are going to look at you and mock you and call you a fool or whatever it may be. So that's the verse that was coming to my mind with all of this is you're building first, asking questions later. It's going to collapse on you. So my last thought in all of this is whoever's listening and still on here, like and subscribe. This will help the channel out immensely. So all the ladies that are at home and watching, like, share, subscribe, and anyone else. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Michael.
I like on StreamYard how it will actually show you the
Who's faithful to us?
Yeah, so we've only got 3 likes on Facebook and 1 love on Facebook. We need to pump those numbers up.
Yeah.
We need to get those up. Jeff Brown coming in. Do we really have to look at the Bible on this Bible program? I guess so, for the sake of keeping it a Bible program. No, that was good, Reese. That was a good, very good closing thought. Appreciate that.
I have one.
Oh, I knew it.
I have one verse.
I
So
started the domino effect.
Revelation
Emotional effect.
22:20. Even so, come, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Come quickly.
now.
Don't forget that
Yeah.
part. Surely
Yeah.
come quickly.
Yes.
Noah, get the boat ready.
Just- let's go.
Yeah, take us out of here. Speaking of be able to watch, even though we won't be there.
We got to be selfish to be selfless. For you
Right.
guys.
But Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Next time if I can remember, and MCAT on the replay Saturday nights. Sure to like and follow us on Facebook. We live stream the sermons, and we're also sharing. Actually, I've not been sharing the other information like we have been. I need to get back on that. For the folks in Virginia, you still sharing wisdom that comes from above?
She's done.
Done?
Yeah, she said she did an overview of Acts, and after Acts 28, she's done.
Oh well.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
why,
what's that.
but yep. But you can go look at all the old
Yeah,
ones.
that's right. Yeah,
wisdom from
go,
above.
Yeah, go to the archives. Be sure to subscribe to the Church of Christ of Lake County on YouTube. Turn on the notifications for that. That's where all of our classes, so our Acts study that we had today, will be made available tomorrow for you to study along with us. Matthew is there, 1 Corinthians, John, Caring to Correct Ways of the Wanderer, some Proverbs information. So yeah, catch all of that, and any future classes that we have will be uploaded there as well. Yielding Jordan's Wave. Got another one coming soon, or how you
It's
feeling?
coming soon. It keeps growing as I keep
that's
going.
right.
Yeah. So
It's like a piece of fat off a steak. You just
Yeah,
keep chewing
I
it,
keep
chewing it.
and there's just so much information. I'm enjoying this one I'm writing, but yeah, it'll
Okay.
come soon.
So it sounds like we'll have multiple episodes that will be
It could turn into 2, or it'll be one really long one.
okay. All right. Well,
10 minutes.
yeah. Well,
Last one was only 17.
Woo.
Well, whenever it ends up being available, if you're subscribed to the Back to the Bible channel and you have your notifications on, when we send out that announcement, you will know about it and you'll be able to watch it when it goes live. And then our contact information, if you would like a copy of that free book, if you're not a member of the Church of Christ, I almost said of Lake County, but if you're not a member of the Church of Christ and you like that book, you can email us your mailing address at cfcoflakecounty@gmail.com. If you have questions or comments or a topic that you'd like for us to dig into, you can email that to us as well, and we'll look into it. If
And
you like,
we won't be like the Hope Ministries and not get back to you.
right,
Not get back to you.
Not get back to you.
we will reply eventually. I won't promise that same day,
Yeah.
but it will happen. Or if you'd like to call, you can call us and ask a question or leave a comment or just a quick word of encouragement. That's fine. You can call me, Micah, at 434-429-5221.
Or you can call Jordan at 406-499-1745.
Or call Reese at 406-241-4667.
Or our Facebook Messenger for the church is open to public messages, public comment. The YouTube channels all have public comments that are open because we want to engage. We want to have this dialogue. We want to help people to learn the truth, and even dealing with these things that you wouldn't even consider as being a church issue. Well, they actually are church issues because these are things that we're needing to judge righteously on, and that even when it comes to stuff like this Hope Center, rehabilitation centers, and the effect that they're going to have on communities, that's the kind of stuff where the church needs to stand up and say, hey, this is not the best thing to do. We are all for recovery. Like I said, I work with a recovery group, but you do not need to put this in the center of town because you already have one in Pablo and it's a mess. You've already got one going on the north side of town. Why do you need to build this one on the south side? So it's just, it does not make sense. It does not make good, reasonable, logical sense to start doing this. Put them somewhere else, put them somewhere out where they won't be around all the bars and the dispensaries where they could potentially get slipped something because you're only going to have 4 staff members keeping an eye on people. It's not.
And then who are these volunteers?
Yeah, who are
Yeah,
these
exactly.
vetted people?
Exactly.
Right. That's how they overdosed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
That's how it gets in.
Wow.
Volunteers. So, yeah, who's going to be watching the church when they supposedly have their Bible studies at the church, not at the
Right.
Hope Center? Anyways, we're not going to rehash the episode.
Yes, bro.
All right. So, Brother Brown, keep my dad in your prayers. He's having back surgery tomorrow. Oh, well, among other health issues. All right. We will definitely do that for you, Brother Brown. Thank you for sharing that with us, and other faithful brethren out there that are watching. Be sure to put Brother Brown's dad on your prayer list there. All righty. That's all we got for tonight. We'll see you in 2 weeks, Lord willing. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great week. Fellas, thank you for being here again.
Thank you.
And for your help on this episode, everybody in the chat, even though we came to you late, had some good thoughts there, and we appreciate you engaging with us there. Look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, have a great week. God bless.